Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another First Division review show. 4 games this weekend. Delighted to welcome Keith onto the show again. Keith, how are you doing?
Hey Keith, how are you?
I'm brilliant, yeah. No Bray jersey today, or is it? I can't see fully.
No.
That's not a Bray jersey? No, it's not.
Right.
Thought maybe an away jersey from 30 years ago or something, but no. We'll actually start off at the Carlisle ground and get that one out of the way, so to speak. The British Bray 0, Wexford 0. Anyone who watched the show last weekend would have seen, for example, I predicted 2-2 and said no matter what happens in this game, there'll be goals. So of course, it finishes 0-0. How did you see the game overall?
It was a poor game overall. Like Eddie Gormley said after the game that we played well. Now I can't agree with him there because when you play well, you win games. You don't draw 0-0. Callum Thompson, they said during the game, he'd probably won the match, and he was excellent for Bray, but he was a step above a lot of the players. Hugh Douglas headed every ball at the back for Bray. But there was no clear-cut chances for either side. Callum got around Paul Hunt at one stage, and with the goal at his mercy, put the ball into the side net. And then Curtis Bourne hit the post very, very late on. But other than that, it was a real 0-0 draw. And although it wasn't as bad as Treaty against Bray last season, it was a real 0-0, and neither side deserved to win the game.
Yeah, would you say that both sides defended well though in the game as such?
There
was no spark going forward.
It's funny. It was Rob Manley and his brother were up against each other. So the brother was playing for Wexford, and Rob obviously playing for Bray, and neither really gave either person a bit of a kick or anything like that. So I was impressed with there was no Jack Doherty for Wexford. Connor Davis played well for Wexford. Innie Cork, I know you said last week he had a good record against Bray. He didn't really do much. So Ian Ryan, he brought on defender towards the end of the game, so he was obviously happy with a point when he got that point. So
yeah, I suppose from Bray's point of view, obviously both teams earned 7 points after 6 games, and from Bray's point of view, they've only scored 4 goals in the 6 games, Keith. That's obviously they conceded 11. Now, you could argue in the last few weeks, they definitely have improved a little bit in the course of 2 or 3 matches. So, you can look at it different ways, but they definitely need to score more goals, that's for sure. And obviously, they will be disappointed that they failed to register against Wexford at Carlisle, won't they?
Yeah, and it's their 3rd home game without a win as well. So that'd be worrying for the management team. It's you need to get that home win under your belt. So going back to the goals, 4 goals. It's not a great return after the number of games they played. So, as I said, Callum had a good game. He kind of tried to create chances for Bray, but the final ball kind of failed Bray a lot of times. Rob Manley went through at one stage, and all he had to do was lob the ball over Paul Hunt, and he was in on goal. But unfortunately, Paul Hunt got a touch on it, and that was that chance gone. So, you don't climb the table with not scoring goals. So, and obviously the goal difference isn't great either.
No, I suppose from Wexford's point of view, they'll obviously be the happier with the result to go to Carlisle and get a point, especially 0-0 in many ways. They'll be happy with that. On to Cork City and Athlone, and Cork City are just, we could almost repeat ourselves every week here. They're flying, but nearly every game the last couple of weeks as such is over at half time. I mean, there were 2 up at half time against Waterford, there were 3 up at half time at Treaty, and in this one, I know it was 3-1 at half time, but even so, by the 50th minute, it was 4-1, and obviously the game petered out after that. But look, it's a great mix at the moment. They're forming scoring goals, they're not really conceding goals either. Keishan was in the team, and he was it was surprised that he actually started, like, by all accounts. So for him to come in and score the 2 goals, and the 3rd and 4th goal that Athlone gave away, though, just poor stuff. It reminded me of the Cove game a little bit. You know what I mean? Those kind of scrappy goals, like a couple of yards out type thing from the goal line, and that. And Coffey and Murphy won't score scruffier, maybe, or easier goals all season. Obviously, Bazunu got a good goal for Athlone as well, but overall they were outplayed in this match, and we'll talk about other results in a minute. But Cork, after 7 games, are 3 points clear, and they're looking very, very strong at this minute in time, aren't they?
Yeah, it's another fantastic win, and we kind of Gavin was giving out to me about tipping Cork for another comfortable win, and ultimately it was like after the third goal, it was game over, you know. And I know it was Aina who got a consolation goal, which it turned out to be, but you never really felt that with them scoring that goal that it was game on, because Cork could just go up another level, and they got their fourth then just after half time. I felt it was, as you said, it was a bit of a surprise with Rory Keaton coming back in after his injury last week. And, you know, the first goal, it was a real striker's goal, you know. The ball through, and it was terrible defending from Athlone, and Keaton went around Slingham and put the ball into the net then from a couple of yards out. And
it's quite similar to his opener against Waterford in terms of just reactive and instinctive, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And him and Keane Murphy seem to be connecting quite well this season. So it doesn't look good for the rest of the league. You know, Cork are flying. They're getting the crowds behind them, as I've mentioned before. So, and their goal difference is absolutely unbelievable. I think they've only conceded a couple of goals, 4 goals or something. And
2.
2. And
yeah, very good, isn't it?
They've scored a lot of goals. So that'll bode well for them. Like, it probably won't go down to goal difference, but if it did, that would certainly aid Cork City. I thought a couple of goals for Athlone, like under the high ball. One of them came in and Hackenden headed it, and blatant handball penalty. And then even Keane Murphy's one from the short corner, Kevin O'Connor crossed the ball in, and Keane Murphy scored him a couple of yards out. And it just shows you, and even Athlone's fourth goal, or Cork's fourth goal, again, another ball into the box, and Athlone didn't deal with it, and Coffey puts the ball away. So I'm sure a lot of teams will target that moving forward.
Yeah, they've conceded 16 goals in the first 5 games, but from an Athlone point of view, like, I know you might be trying to play good football, etc., but they're going to have to be harder to beat. I mean, the game, essentially, you said the game was over. I think the game was over after 18 minutes, to be honest. Once Cork got 2-0 up, there's no way back for Athlone, and you have to go and be tight and compact in games, especially going to Turner's Cross and the way they're playing. Maybe they tried to do that, so maybe they're not good enough to do that. I'm not so sure. But they just have to go into games and be a bit harder to beat. It's a pity, because they would have got a lot of it felt they should have got confidence from the performance against Galway. But obviously at this minute in time, Cork are a different animal as well. But a lot of improvement for Athlone to make, and still bottom with no points, unfortunately, for them. And there's other teams picking up points. So yeah, they're going to have to get their act together a little bit. We'll go on to Longford, and they had a great 2-1 win at home to Galway, particularly the fact they went behind. You would think if Galway went ahead so early in the game that the worst they're going to draw. But Verdon, after 45 minutes, and Craven, 2 players you'll know a lot about, in 77 minutes. And suddenly they're on a little bit of a run, Longford. I think that start helped them because it was a stop-start. Probably more stop-startish than any team had in the league. But you'd have to say they seem to be improving as the weeks go on. And to beat Galway at home will give them an awful lot of confidence, I think, won't it?
Yeah, as you said, it has been stop-start with Longford, but what a win against, like, and particularly to go 1-0 down. A bit of a calamitous OG. I don't know if you've seen it, but my God, like, you know, you wouldn't see it in schoolboy football. Unfortunately, Mick McDonald, he thought Dennison was on his line and passed the ball back towards the goal, and it was an open goal and went in.
Just kids, play with your head up. Always play with your head up.
absolutely. But credit to Longford, they came back into the game, and unfortunately, I've only seen the goals as the highlights. And Verdon put the ball into the net. He's on a bit of a roll this season. I think that's his third goal of the season. I know he's
playing well, though. Even apart from the goals, he's actually performing well. I think it was the game. Did he score against Bray? I think he did score against Bray. But he played quite well in that game. His hold-up play. And the game last week, I thought he was bringing players into the game. So that's what you want from your centre-forward. If you can add goals, great. He's not a player, I'm sure he'd say it himself, that would expect to score 15 goals a season. But if he can do what he's doing so far in terms of his performances, link play, hold-up play, and get others into the game, like your Gravens, etc., and players, Robinson maybe coming deep from midfield and that sort of thing as such, that's what you want from him. But as you say, the added bonus of actually scoring goals at this minute in time anyway.
Yeah, it's great to have a striker that's the focal point, and as you say, holds the ball up and stuff. Longford, he seems to click at Longford. You know, it didn't work out for him at Bray really. So he seems to have, it's like a match made in heaven at Longford for him. So, and then obviously Craven. I don't know if you've seen Craven's goal, but what a strike from Craven! Absolutely bullet of a strike from, I think it was 20, 25 yards, and that was 2-1. And you know, John Caulfield won't be happy. Galway, you know, I keep mentioning this, they were expected to be up there, and they're now 6 points behind Cork City, albeit with a game in hand. But you know, you'd rather have the points on board than the games in hand. So you know, he'd be worried and he'd be wondering what's going wrong for him. It's I don't know, Galway, they're a big side, and you know, they should be dominating teams more, but they don't seem to be. And Caulfield may need to change his tactics a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that actually, because I think a little issue with them for me is that they actually have good attackers, but they're not making the best out of them. Like Rory Keaton was there last season, and no, he did well overall, but you fancy him scoring more goals in that Cork team. Basically, you've got Fransley Lamboto, you've got Waru, and you've got Adieno that came in from Drogheda. I think they're all capable of scoring goals, but they're playing a system where it mightn't get the best out of your attacking players. I mean, Walsh's goals have dried up. I say that in jest because you can't expect Walsh to be scoring the goals every week. You know what I mean? And that's an issue for them as well. So I think you're right. I think it's a style of play. I think if you had, say, those three forwards I named in the Cork City team, the way they're playing, I think you'd see more joy. And I think that's a little issue with Galway and Caulfield. The only thing with Caulfield, he will generally get the best out of everything else and will have you in and around there. But if they want to go the full distance this season, you feel, as you said there, you might need to change it up a little bit. I mean, from Longford's point of view, some people would argue that they could join the mix, actually. Certainly with Galway and Waterford, like they're 2 games less and they're 3 points behind Waterford and they're 6 points behind Galway. So you wonder if they could join the mix as well. But yeah, look, it's a great result for Longford, and Galway would be disappointed with that, particularly, as you say, with Cork's result. And they just need to
It's amazing. It's amazing, Keith. A few weeks ago when Bray bet Longford fans were calling for Gary Cronin's head. I know it's early days and all, but like to turn things around, a good win in Wexford, a 3-0 win in Wexford, and then to beat Galway at home, you know. So, and with the game in hand,
that performance in Bray wasn't that bad. We even said it ourselves, didn't we? We said they actually created chances. Yes, they give away well, not terrible goals. We've seen worse goals given away as such, but Bray kind of took their chances in that game. And Longford, there was, you know, good signs for Longford in that match as well. You couldn't have faulted the application, just didn't put the ball in the net. But since, as you say, the results have been there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Longford could. I mean, it's funny, every week we seem to say that someone is going to be the surprise package, and maybe it'll be Longford, you know, with the 2 good wins they've had, and they're up there, the games in hand. I know I'm contradicting what I said earlier, that you'd rather have the points on board, but Longford, they're definitely in the playoffs.
Yeah, I suppose to many people's surprise of the weekend was Treacy beating Waterford 2-1, Keane after 6, and the Curran is doing well there actually after 57, Wordsworth after 77, Subamali was sent off after 48 minutes. This was a strange game. I think you and Gavin predicted a big win. I predicted Waterford win. I thought they'd win it, but something told me that Treacy were going to give this a real go, because I just thought that performance against Cork was just unlike Tommy Barrett's team, and I just feel they would have reflected on that and said to themselves, look, if they come here, if they're going to win here, they're going to have to work hard and get a result. And obviously Treaty put it up to them, and as I said, 2-0 up with 30 minutes to go. Waterford continued to concede goals. That's their 9th goal they've conceded this season now in 6 games, and they just look open generally in some of the games. And you know, now 6 points behind Cork. I know they have a game in hand, but having lost to Cork a couple of weeks ago and having the break, it's a big blow for them to go and lose the Treaty, isn't it?
Yeah, look, 2 Munster derbies defeats in a row. You know, they won't be happy. And I got word off the Treaty fan, Jason Shanahan. I'd like to thank him for letting me know how the game went. And he said, look, Treaty could have had more goals in this game. I know Waterford were down to 10 men after 48, 49 minutes, you know. Yeah. And then the Curran scored just, I think it was 10 minutes after sending off, and that was 2-0. He said Treaty went to 4-4-2. I'm not sure what formation he had been playing, But he said Red Hanlon and Enda Curran up top were excellent, absolutely excellent, and there was plenty of chances created by Treaty. Maybe that was down to the 10 men that Waterford had.
That's it. There were 2 up before Waterford even got a player sent off. So, 1 up before Waterford got players sent off as well. So they were in a good position. But I just felt the game against Cork, the performance there. I don't know what they might have changed tactically or whatever, but I don't think that was the problem really in the game. You know what I mean? It's just simple things like not closing down and trying to get blocks in and things like that, and just kind of making it easy for Cork, which was very untreaty. Like clearly they didn't do that for Waterford. Waterford have an issue in terms of obviously at the back. We know that they look like they're going to concede goals at the back. They don't seem to have a leader at the back. Their midfield, apparently, I've been told by Waterford fans in this game was wide open as well, and they're playing in such a way that apparently it was a bit of long ball football. Ian Morris is known for that a little bit, but at the same time, Waterford did play like that, though, I have to say, in the closing stages last season as well. It's nothing really new, and Sheedy played like that a lot as well. Again, I'm not saying it's right, but look, it'd be interesting to see because obviously Morris has gone in there with a reputation to do well in this division. For me, he hasn't got the foundation of a good backline, though. And so that's going to make things look worse when you're conceding the goals. You know what I mean? Yeah,
a bit like Galway. Does he have to change tactic a bit? We don't know what's going on. And
I would say they have more firepower than Cork in terms of the overall quality of the individual. But you're hoping every week that they're scoring goals, though. This is the problem.
Yeah, well, that's you hit the nail on the head there. Cork are scoring the goals. Waterford, They had a blank last week against Cork. They got 1 goal this week against Waterford. So,
are they believing their own hype a little bit? You wonder if they've kind of believed their own hype and kind of thought, you know what I mean, we're actually a Premier Division team here. We should be in this division, etc., etc. I just wonder if there's a little element there. I still think there's a little problem in that Waterford team, in terms of when they're under pressure, when things get hard. There's an element where they collapse a little bit. And I just don't know if they have the fight first. That's the only question I have for them.
I don't think a lot of the players appreciate how tough the League of Ireland First Division actually is. Some of these players have come on loan from English clubs and, they're over here to get game time or whatever. And they're like, whoa, wasn't expecting this, And maybe they believe in themselves, but collectively, they're not. They don't seem to be working as a team, and I'm not sure who they play next week, but they definitely need to get a win on board to maintain to close the gap on Cork City.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a running theme, so to speak, with Waterford. They actually have Longford next week, but that's an interesting one. But we'll do the preview show, guys, later in the week as well. But that's a theme with Waterford, I think, as well, a little bit. Even the Premier Division last few years, they'll tell you that themselves, their fans. When the going got tough, though, they seem to struggle a little bit collectively as well. So it's just something they have to try and get right. And I think even if it takes another season, I just don't hope they don't look at the manager too much. Like, it depends how bad they're doing now. If they start falling away, then you'd have to look at it because they shouldn't be. They should at least be in contention. But
because Morris brought Shells up twice, obviously the Waterford locals should be expecting him to do the same again, complete the hat trick. But it doesn't seem to be working out that way, and he probably has a lot more work than he expected to have to do. So, and as you say, they've conceded 9 goals. That's not a good return for a team that's going to be expecting to be up the top of the league.
Yeah, and as I said, excellent result for Treaty as well. And coming off the back, to be honest, that's Treaty. That's what they are. Like, you know what I mean? They have a bad defeat and they come back with a great win like that. And you just feel with Treaty, you wouldn't rule them out like of finishing in a decent playoffs position either, though. That kind of way, because they just have that. I don't know what Tommy Barrett does exactly. You know what I mean? I don't see what he does in the training pitch. I don't see what he does behind closed doors. But there's something about him that seems to manage things very, very well. And remember, they're part-time as well. You're up against 3 definite full-time teams in this league as well, for sure. And other teams that are kind of, you'd say, they're probably ahead of them in that development as well. So, like, I don't know, there's something about him that you really admire. And you actually wonder, without going too much off topic, you do wonder yourself, if he has another good season with Treaty, You know what I mean? There's clubs looking at him, I'd say, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say that if Waterford have a bad season and Treaty have a good season, that Morris will go and Tommy Barrett will be in at Waterford? You know,
Is that
I
an exclusive?
know.
We'll rewind this segment back just in case this happens again, you know, or does happen eventually.
No, but word from the game, I believe Jack Brady had a fine game for Treaty. Now, that would suggest that Waterford had chances as well. If Brady has a good game, he's obviously making saves. So maybe Waterford just didn't take their chances. But credit to Jack Brady. He was criticised last week. He conceded 4 against Cork City. And mentally, for him to go and have a fantastic game against Waterford, that's good for him going forward.
Absolutely, Keith. Look, thanks for coming on, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit your bell notification button so you keep up to date with all the latest videos. Thanks for watching.